All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Happy well, I don't know if I can say that. Just happy, y'all. Happy, right? We're gonna get into why. Um, Yesterday we kind of talked about the origins of Thanksgiving and how it was all a finesse. Um, Today we're gonna talk about the gifts that foundational Black Americans has given the country and given the world. And I'm gonna beg the question: is a non-FBA world thankful for our gifts? What do y'all think about that? First, let's examine some of the gifts we've given to the world. We've given the world electricity, doorknobs, toilets, um, light bulbs. Some say automobiles, some say airplanes. Created by a black man. The space program by females.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up a bunch.
Is the world grateful for our gifts? What do you think, Wani?
Nope.
That's the end of the space right there.
That was quick.
Yeah.
No,
if y'all,
we have.
okay, if y'all, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we have a huge body portfolio of things that we've done for society, and I'm gonna cover it as soon as more people come in the room. But besides the humanitarian things and besides Lewis Latimer making the part of the light bulb that makes it stay on, and also that same um, that same invention was used in the movie projector, and that's why Black Americans were some of the first subjects of film in a positive way. And then later, of course, they tried to make it in a negative way. But yeah, we basically have a lot of things that we've done, and some people can do one thing in the country and ride on that wave forever and get credit for what we did, like Chinese people claiming they built the railroad, when in fact they did not build the railroad. There was 700 miles of train tracks laid in the West, and they were part of a crew that was paid, and they worked with Irish people and other immigrants to put that in. They did not do anything. We built thousands of miles of train tracks. And it seems that other groups that have done nothing in the country at all, didn't calculate the moon landing, don't have schools and colleges, don't have these programs, don't have anything to do with NASA, don't have anything to do with anything, can come here and claim that we have a problem. They don't have these military fleets. They don't have a history of pushing the country westward like we did. There wouldn't be a West Coast to have a Hollywood in. There wouldn't be a film projector because there would be no light for it to use. So everything that people are lapping under, like Hollywood, like being able to transport things, there would be no need to have a train because there would be no agricultural gold for them to transport. We're the reason that the country even moved forward to have ports, to have trains, to have exports. There would be no reason to have any of those if they were just standing in an open field like they were when they got here and they tried to do these things themselves. So, no, they're not thankful because they don't feel that um, we should speak about reparations. They make a whole lot of jokes about how they were all enslaved when they were not. Only one group of people was enslaved, and only one group of people was emancipated by the Emancipation Proclamation. Not Chinese people. They came over, most of the Chinese people that came over on the islands came over after slaves. That was their answer to, oh, we can't have slaves. Well, we'll go get some indentured Indians and Chinese people and bring it to the islands. That was their answer to that. These people willingly came over here, and I'm not taking any complaints. The complaint desk is closed for any immigrant opening their mouth. Don't talk to me about things you don't like in America when you can carry your behind back over to wherever you came from, where everyone looks just like you. And that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's so true. I think, given the fact we've given so much, had such a extreme contribution to this society and to this country, I think it's the opposite of thankfulness. I think it's jealousy. I think it's just hatefulness. How dare you outdo me? When that was never our intent. Um, there's a lot of questions to be asked, a lot of answers that have not been given yet to what this is really all about. My question is, how do we know? How do we have this record of sophistication and design? What I mean, Lewis Lattimore, was it in his genes to design a light bulb? If so, where did that acoustic record come from? Um, Let me give you a better example. If we look at uh, Benjamin Banneker, was it in his genes? He didn't go to a school of architecture. Was it in his genes to know how to build a city? Was he in a secret society that I'm not aware of? I don't know. But if it was in his genes to build a sophisticated city, those who don't know about it, Benjamin Banneker built through the blueprints for Washington, D.C., a very sophisticated city, very symmetrical. Where did he learn that? Or was it in his DNA? And if it was in his DNA, where did it come from? You know, there are a lot of questions to be asked, but back to the topic, these are all gifts. Benjamin Banneker gave gifts. Madam C.J. Walker gave gifts. She gave the gift of um, the business model that would later be used by Avon. Why does Avon not have "Thank you" made of Madam C.J. Walker in their slogan? This was made possible by the research of Madam C.J. Walker. No, they don't. You know, is it hatefulness? Is it jealousy? I don't know, but it's not thanks. Um, Seemingly, I was listening to a song the other day by Justin Timberlake. The name of the song is irrelevant, but I was listening to the cadence and I was like, man, that's like black R&B, man. Have I ever heard Justin Timberlake get on the stage and say, I want to thank Foundation, I want to thank Black Americans, or whatever he wants to call us, for showing me a style of music that's made me very wealthy, very popular, and giving me a position in life? No, he's never said that. Matter of fact, when Janet Jackson's breast came out, he said, I'm appalled. You're appalled? Motherfucker, you're around royalty. I'm appalled that you're next to her. You know what I'm saying? So is America are we thankful for our gifts? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they're angry about our gifts. And it's a lot of hatefulness and vitriol towards us for our abilities.
They take the same attitude. The white people take the same attitude as the Africans, that the slaves made this so we can divvy it up together. That's their whole attitude. You're just, people on the transatlantic slave trade. So whatever you come up with belongs to white people, and it also belongs to the sellers on the transatlantic slave trade. That's their mentality. Like, they don't need to talk to us. They can make us disappear. We were the ones, Black American men were the first people to take that course for EMS instruction, and they set up an ambulance in their area, and that became popular. So we are always thinking this way, thinking about humanitarian types of things. Frederick Douglass could have just paid attention to his own people, but instead he criticized the Yellow Peril, the Chinese Exclusion Act, and opposed Japanese. I mean, and we opposed Japanese internment strongly. We opposed the Vietnam War and the Philippine American War. And those people will come over here and look down their nose at us. They wouldn't even be here. They would have probably been slaughtered, mass slaughtered, more than they already got. We inspired the Dalit Panthers, the Polynesian Panthers, and the Australian Black Panther Party. And that's just in with what we've done with Asian people. I'm just speaking about what our interactions with Asian people have been, us helping them, us inspiring them. And for them to drag their foreign butts over here and fight against us going to college is something that I just can't even begin. These things are unforgivable, and I'm not about to ever forget them. Politically, I don't like you. Collectively, don't really care for you. But hey, if I see you walking down the street and you wave, I'm going to say hi. One on one, I'll say hi. But I know where you collectively stand. I don't know where the Chinese girl on the corner stands. I don't know where my Mexican neighbor stands, but I know how they collectively move. And I know that when you collectively move a certain way, and those people don't step out and say, hey, wait a minute, why are you doing that to them? We didn't hear a lot of Asian people saying, hey, stop suing those people trying to go to school in their own country. They didn't say a peep.
Right.
Okay. Hmm.
Why?
Can you hear me?
Like why? Oh,
I couldn't hear you because you broke up.
okay. Yeah, I went into a dead zone. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I only got one bar, so I may break up again. If I do, I'll go on mute until I'm in the area that's more. Um, but I'm on the road right now. But yeah, what I was saying is that whole scandal of the Harvard admission scandal just reinforced the notion that everything is in diametric opposition to us. Like, why do they give a fuck how many black kids go to Harvard or Yale? Like, why is that any of your business? Like, why is the whole world, including the African world, focusing on foundational Black Americans? Somebody please explain that to me. Why are we the focal points? Like we've been like traumatized to the ninth power. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are y'all focused on us? Somebody make it make sense.
Now I'm going to move down to this part. We formed all of these black and brown alliances and we inspired the Brown Berets. We supported immigration and we endorsed the founder of the United Farm Workers, Cesar Chavez. So that's what we did with, we helped these Hispanics in the country every step of the way, and they repaid us. I'm going to go over how they repaid us. I'm just going to tell you what we did for these people. Now, with respect to Jewish people, we liberated them from multiple concentration camps, and I can tell you that they looked horrific. Looked like, first of all, I don't even know why these people were living, because they had a form of being like walking mummies. They were mummified, but they were still alive.
I saw it was awful. Yes,
They were still alive.
I saw,
That's a certain
I,
type of disorder. I have to look up the name, but that's a thing.
I read an article by Foundation, and they were liberated by foundational Black American soldiers in
Yes,
large part.
yes,
People don't talk about that.
yes, they were, and they actually celebrate those soldiers. They have like a get together, to celebrate those particular men. And also, Black Americans inspired the Israeli Black Panthers. So they were black then when they were going in those concentration camps and up in those gas chambers. They were black. They didn't call themselves the Israeli White Panthers, did they? No, they called themselves the Israeli Black Panthers. They identified as black until they got closer to whiteness, until they got their white card, okay, that expires monthly and they have to pay fees to keep it going. Um, so that's one of the groups that we helped. Now, 20,000 protesters in major cities like New York, Chicago, Detroit protested in support of Ethiopia not being invaded. Okay, that's number one. Do you know that we had to fight Italian Americans that were here fighting us in the street
Yep.
because they wanted their country that they don't fucking live in because they're losers in their country, parasites here, criminals here, fighting us in our streets because they want to invade somewhere. Why do you care whether Italians invade something? You've never been loyal people in this country. You've always been little weirdo, dual allegiance foreigners, and you can't get over it. So Charles Robinson, the brown condor, flew over and volunteered to lead the Tuskegee aviators against Italian forces. And he was a commander in the Ethiopian Air Force. Even though somebody wanted to argue with Tariq about that on the stage, he was the commander. Thank you very much. Um, and helped to establish their airlines that they have now. Some of the other things that we've done that we don't even know we're doing. Like when you go to sleep at night and you lay down on your pillow, you're helping foreigners. How? Because we created a political arm called the Congressional Black Caucus, right? And they file a lot of petitions and they do a lot of things, all of it to help foreigners. So they help with Caribbean disasters, they help with police brutality, SARS, they help with Boko Haram, they help with institutionalized domestic violence overseas, honor killings, forced child marriages, female genital mutilation, terrorism, starvation, and genocide. Now, while they're doing all that, what's happening with us? Huh? If they put all that energy into them, what's going on with us? Also, another thing that we did was we single handedly crushed apartheid. Why? Because we did a series of things. This country wanted apartheid to continue because it's a racist country. So we boycotted, we marched in the streets, and those boycotts strategically harmed those companies. Finally, this country had to level sanctions. And we also, as from the Congressional Black Caucus, filed petitions and demanded that this go down, and wearing t-shirts with Nelson Mandela on it. I mean, just all kinds of things we were doing. We popularized this fight. And then, of course, with everything that we popularized, the country, the consciousness of the world started to focus on them and they crumbled to the ground. But they don't believe it. They think that they should back Palestine. They think Palestinians are their heroes. Oh, they gave us some weapons. Well, you never used them, did you, dummy? But you don't see Black Americans. Black Americans made you. We made Nelson Mandela. We created Nelson Mandela. He would just be another person in jail if it wasn't for us. But they're not thankful. They're thankful to the Palestinians. And they said so by uplifting them and supporting them during their time of need, which I'm not against. However, they would never do that with us.
Facts. Facts. Are they thankful? No. Where is the evidence? I guess a better question is, where is the evidence that they've ever been thankful to the contributions, blood, sweat, and tears of FBA? Where is it? I want somebody on this stage to prove me wrong. I don't know everything. I know a couple things. I get paid to know things, but you know, the more you know, the real smart people say I don't know, because the more you know, the more you realize you don't really know shit, and that's where I am. So I want somebody on this stage to tell me where um, we've been showed absolute gratitude by a non-FBA for our inventions, for our compassion, for our caping, for our defense of other people. We're constantly defending other groups. Historically, we're just now getting to the point where we're like, fuck this. I'm sick of defending you because, like my title implies, there is no reciprocity. Right? Where's the love? Where the love at? Ain't that what NBA YoungBoy said?
They weren't even thankful when Black people went and got all the hostages from overseas. So they're not thankful for anything. sometimes it's a whole lot that we did for them, a whole lot of inventions that we came up with, and they just stole them from us. They can never be thankful for us. They have to steal from us. They have to make it seem as if all of our accomplishments are theirs. So there's, I don't think that we should ever expect them to show things to us.
So what's the solution then? Like, should we just what? Well, delineation is a big part of it
I think
because
we should all be a little bit more like Wani.
yeah, we should all take a shot of wine. Real talk.
This is a logical position. Again, Africans were, represented like savages on cartoons, in magazines. They were displayed naked, and places like National Geographic and National Wildlife magazines, they thought it was okay that little white boys were playing with themselves in the bathroom with these magazines. It was a known fact that that's what those magazines were being used for. It was like porn. They'd take the magazine and disappear. Well, guess what? We fought against those images, those what we considered negative images, primitive images, nudity, and things that we thought were wrong, only to find out that they told us to go get lost because they want to flap their tits when it's time to do a virgin dance in South Africa, and we could kick rocks, according to them. They don't care if we show them naked, they don't care. And that's their culture. And I agree, it's none of our business. If they want to flap their tits, if they want to eat human legs, I have nothing to do with it. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to put the cape on. I'm not doing anything. Let them just fly in the wind. Let them figure it out. They're human beings, right? I thought we were told we were all equal. So if we're all equal, they should have the wherewithal to come up with a way to get their image the way they want it. It's not my job to make up fake identities for these people and say that their village raises a child and all of this other stuff. If it takes a village to raise a child, why are there 50 million orphans? I'm not going to make up any more stories about Africa.
Blessed Lions, what's on your mind? I say your name wrong. I don't have my glasses on, so forgive me. Again, I think that's it. No, Blessed Lioness. I'm sorry. Blessed Lioness, what's on your mind?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you.
Thank you. So I went to Africa. So, like she just said, they don't mind if you take their pictures naked, okay? And I had to because I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. And guess what? It's all over Google.
Can you
All
talk a
you,
little bit louder? We can y'all hear her?
I'm a photographer.
Yeah, yeah. She's muffled a little bit.
Is anybody hearing me? That's the first part. Supposed to ask, can you hear me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to Africa, right? Soon as I got there, I'm a photographer, so I got my cameras, right? I took pictures like you wouldn't believe. Everybody naked, okay? And I see my pictures all over Google. I can't stand it.
So
Do
somebody
you
took your
do
pictures.
you do you feel that's a reflection of on you if they're naked? Wait, where did she go?
So you have
Okay.
enough drink.
See, we were tricked into believing that things that Africans did were a reflection of us. A South African woman flapping her tits around on Virgin Day has absolutely nothing to do with me. Okay? Just like
That's a
Romanians,
fact.
just like Romanians driving stakes through people's hearts, opening up people's graves, and saying that, corpses are walking around. I don't know if they are or not. I'm not calling them liars, But that doesn't have anything to do with Joe Blow down the street from you. It doesn't have anything to do with white people. It has to do with Romanian people wanting to drive stakes through people's hearts. It's not a reflection on white people, okay? And we're not even one race. So why on earth would random African people's activities be a reflection of us if white people's activities are not a reflection of them?
Right, right. And well, it's a lot of suppressed history. I urge all of you to buy Dr. Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of African Society, I think is the name of that title. In that book, he proves that the Black Americans, those of us who do have an African lineage, because all of us don't, some of us were here in the first place, which is a real big part of the story that's hidden. But those of us like myself, whose father was part of the transatlantic slave trade, like his genetically, my dad, his side of the family, we tracked it to a plantation in North Carolina. So I am mixed with that lineage. But Dr. Chancellor Williams shows in his book that that lineage of Africans who did come from the mainland during the transatlantic slave trade were totally different than other Africans. And that's where shit gets real deep. It gets deep because if you follow the timeline, the timeline implies that the Bouchon people, who a lot of Black Americans were mixed with, were Eastern Africans. There we go. And who were displaced refugees. So then the question becomes, why were the Bouchon people misplaced refugees? What were they running from? And an answer goes to the raid on Kemet or Egypt by Europeans and Asians, namely up under the leadership of Alexander the Great. Later, Ptolemy I Lagi, who called himself Sotar. They kicked, basically, what I'm trying to say in simpler terms is a group of people we call the real Egyptians, the Kemites, got ran up out of Egypt. And they ran into West Africa and made settlements all across West Africa where the West Africans fucking hated them, according to Dr. Chancellor Williams. The West Africans were jealous of them. Why? They were jealous of them because they could do things. They could make inventions. Here we go. Let me say that shit one more time. The Kemites could make inventions. They were
Well,
in.
can you
Does that
spell Bouchon, please? Do you know how to spell Bouchon or
Bouchon?
Kemet?
It's with a G. I think it's Bushong. I
Oh,
think that's
wow.
it.
Okay, I'll
Bouchon.
find it. I'll figure it out. Um,
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say before. There are two different people. West Africans are not East Africans at all, genetically or any other way. East Africans have totally a deep, deep history, writing systems, buildings that people don't even know how they built those. They have a whole lot of things going on over there, and they have, of course, connections to Egypt. They're part of Egypt, and they do have inventions. They do have more of a culture. They have a lot of ancient developments, and what they were really good at is categorizing things, like with the instruments. They didn't invent all the instruments, but they did get the instruments and say, hey, this is a stringed instrument, this is a drum, and they categorized them and they standardized these instruments. And then, of course, the Greco-Roman Empire saw that and modeled it on there. And then here you go. By the 16th and 17th century, they start crafting very beautiful violins and pianos and things based on the earliest people that did that categorization of instruments. So even the things they didn't technically invent, they perfected those. That's what I like to see with these ancient cultures, the really refining things so that we have the civilization that we have now.
yeah, Wani. And yes, and let's look at the phenotype. Look at us. Look in the chat. Look at Wani. Look at me. Do we look more West African or East African? You see where I'm going with this? Dr. Chancellor Williams identified basically in simpler terms that is the Egyptians. Egypt got raided. I hate saying Egypt. But anyway, I'll roll with it. Egypt got raided and taken over by Europeans, still is, and Arabs. And the people with knowledge, the Kemites with knowledge and status, ran the fuck up out of there. And they ran west. It makes sense. They had nowhere else to run. And when they ran west, because they were, why would they run west? They were under attack by Asiatics that's coming from the east. They were under attack by Alexander the Great, the Europeans that's coming from the north. The only way they had to run was west. And they ran west and set up settlements. Dr. Williams says that the Bouchon people had settlements and that the West Africans fucking despised them because they knew how to do stuff. Who do these people think they are? They know how to do things. So but here goes the kicker. When the Portuguese slave trade kicked off and the Europeans came to Africa looking for slaves, on their list they had a preferential want for the Bouchon, for the descendants of the Kemites. Why? Because they were thinking of building a new land and they needed people to know how to fucking build it. There goes your Benjamin Banneker, ladies and gentlemen. This shit is in our face. Our first step to liberation is learning who the fuck we are. We're builders. We're creators. We're innovators. And unfortunately, as above, so below. As in Africa, so in America. Were non-FBAs grateful? Nope. They were hateful.
Yes, they are. They're not grateful, they're hateful. Um, so I'm just going to run over a few things. Um, these foreigners come over and they're able to get on the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus and other civil rights organizations and kind of, warp the activities to go toward their respective countries. With CARICOM, Black Americans are denied. And they say we're denied because we're not a Caribbean country or a Caribbean citizen. Makes sense, except for the fact that they allow South Americans to be a part of CARICOM. And they're not Caribbeans, nor are they citizens of the Caribbean. The Union of South American Nations. Now, we have a bunch of Afro Latinos running around all over our political scene telling us that they're black and all the rest of it. But Black Americans are not allowed to be a part of the Union of South American Nations. Okay? And we are denied, and they say because you're not South American, you're not a South American country or a citizen. But they have Caribbeans as members of them. So the Indian Bureau of Affairs says no. Black Americans membership denied. Reason, you're not a Native American. Okay, so I have two things to say about that. Well, actually, three. Number one, the Lumbee tribe is just the same as Black Americans, only they have more European, and they're a Native American tribe. They're triracial. Okay, that was even mentioned when the Cherokee got mad at them for trying to get federal recognition. That was the argument that you're not Indian, neither the Cherokee, but whatever. These people are $5 Indians that were complaining. They look like white men. Uh, Also, a lot of the Native American tribes are triracial. In fact, most are triracial. But what I found astounding is that, the Navajo people could just walk right in the Indian Bureau of Affairs and say, we're Native American. But what's odd is that the last Navajo people and a lot of people, Indians in the west coast of this country, came over in the 1500s. They, in fact, came over after Vikings. And yet they get to classify themselves as Native Americans. How? You came in the 1500s. The Vikings came before you. They should be Native Americans. If you are, how do you just walk into a country across the Bering Strait and because you look like some other people that walked across the Bering Strait, you are in fact a Siberian, you are in fact an Asian, and not a Native American. Black Americans are the only ethnic group that was created here on this soil by an intersection of several individuals who know who they are. Okay? And as a result, we have genetics from 5 to 6 continents. Okay? We didn't walk across the Bering Strait from another continent and then try to call ourselves something. Our DNA shows all of the admixtures, but I bet you Navajo coming over here in the 1500s looks just like the other people in Siberia and looks just like his Asian brethren. And I just find that interesting because, again, that's why the Office of Management and Budgets and Census do not want us to go by DNA. They want to go by bullshit. Okay? They prefer to go by bullshit. You look like this. We feel that you're African. It's comfortable for you to be labeled as such, but not by facts, not by scientific facts. Because we went by facts, okay? They'd have to admit that we don't have skulls like Africans, that we don't have any kind of, our bodies are different. We have to be treated differently within a medical setting. We're not white or African, and that's been acknowledged by scientists. We have to be treated for the adaptations that have happened here in North America. Okay? We
Yeah,
physically have been adapted here.
and as a professor, that's why I fought so hard when I did my COVID-19 research in the Mississippi Delta. I realized that. I realized that black people found FBA respond different. I realized something that I already knew because when I go to the doctor, when I used to go to the doctor, the shit that the white doctors would give me didn't help. It was like, wait a minute, like am I different? You know what I'm saying? The dentist, he didn't give me enough numbing. It was like nothing was right. But I realized it when I did my study in with the federal government, my COVID-19 study, is that foundational Black Americans respond differently. And like Wani said, we respond differently than Africans. We're different. We're a re-amalgamated group. I'm gonna get a fucking tattoo, another tattoo that says "Made in America." You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we were amalgamated, and we're, you know what I'm saying, we're different. And I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just saying, in my view, from the straight numbers and statistics, is I learned that we respond differently to different things, right? Because we are our own group. And given that fact, I fought tooth and nail to try to get foundational Black American students accepted into medical school because we need medical doctors that understand our issues. The medical field, which is very important, is full of white doctors and African doctors that are treating us. And number one, from my view, they didn't fucking respect us, right? We need people who understand our issues. You know what I'm saying? It's so critical. But at the college I was teaching at the time, the majority of the slots going to medicine and dentistry were filled. This was a historically Black college. Were filled by people from the diaspora. They were taking our positions. Our kids need these positions. Our kids, we need a vector for where our kids can learn medicine and exclusively treat our issues. That was a good point, Wani.
Okay, so another thing, the skull is one of the last things to change when you're talking about identifying someone. So I will put it this way, when they find certain skulls, if somebody gets, killed or lost in the woods, they don't know whether it's a Mexican, they don't know whether it's a Native American, they don't know whether it's a Chinese person, they don't know whether it's a Cambodian person. Okay? They have to like look extra to see what it is. So that just goes to show you that Native Americans still have their original stuff intact, that they still have a certain skull shape, but we don't. We don't. So if they find an African skull, they know damn well, and we're not talking about skin color. We're talking about skulls. Just like when they found Luzia, her skull, they reconstructed it and she looked like a black woman. Your skull does not change very quickly. It stays the same, and that's why she looked like that. They can't pull the wool over our eyes. We know what a black woman looks like, and we know what a Native American looks like, and it doesn't look the same. Okay? We know what our skulls look like, and we know what African skulls look like. We know that our hairlines start near the forehead and not near the center of the head. They are not us. And them pulling up a picture and saying, hey, look at a dark skinned person that you have. Well, duh, we have every shade. We have dark to light. So what? So do Indians. We're not the only people on the planet that have a range. See, the difference between Chinese people and Indian people is that Chinese people don't have that much of a range. You see, they don't have super dark Chinese people unless you find an ethnic group on an island in an
Like
isolated
Taiwan,
place. Huh?
like Taiwan.
Yeah, but they're Negritos. That's we they have that Negrito admixture, so they're brown. You have to go way out of your way. If you just do a scan of Chinese people walking down the street, you're not going to see Negritos. Okay? But if you do a scan of us, you're going to see everybody. You're going to see all the shades. If you do a scan of people in India, you're going to see people that are blue black, people that are brown, and people that look very, very light and pale. So I don't know why this is confusing for Africans. We're a different group. We have a different skull shape, which is very, very telling. It shows that the sheer amount of admixtures that we've gotten. There's no one person that looks like a black American. We look like everybody. We don't have a
Hey,
look. Others do have a look. I mean, I'll describe it. Like when you look at the skull of a person from China, it's described like this by scientists: shallow facial profile, shallow eye sockets, broad dental arches, less pronounced nasal cavities, shovel shaped incisors, and they have what's called a synodonty dental pattern. Okay, that's how they look. That's their look, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't get out of it. They can't say no. They can't say it's racist. We don't have that. We don't have all these features. We have all kinds of faces. That's the difference between us and other groups.
Yeah. Which is why we need to come together and delineate because we are our own. Look, we're our own group. I mean, look at the FBAs on the stage. There, although we have different shades and different hair textures, there is some type of uncanny spirit, uncanny similarity. Our brother Tariq Nasheed calls it the Majara spirit, but it's something I can tell when you're FBA. I know it. I've been all across the world, and I'll go to places with a lot of dark people, like Africa and Costa Rica, and I'll see somebody who looks like a brother or sister, but it's something. It's like nah. But I know whether if I'm in New York, Alabama, Mississippi, or Atlanta, I know when you're FBA. I know.
Yeah, I can tell too. It's
Now
it's
they
just an
have
aura. It's an aura. Like when I walk down the streets, me seeing an FBA person versus seeing a non-FBA, very highly melanated person, even if they look a lot, have a lot of the same features, it's something you speak to each other sometimes without even opening up your mouth. Other people, they won't know what that means.
Right.
A lot of times I nod my head at a guy just walking past or a woman just walking past. A lot of times, well, if I'm, let's say I take the bus somewhere, which I rarely do, but if I happen to just hop on a bus stop right now, there would be a non-spoken language. There would be an agreement of how we act socially with each other that a non-FBA person wouldn't understand. They just not like us. They just don't have the privilege of being as great as we are. You know what I'm saying? We just got that swag. Go ahead, Five. Is her name Five, or is it?
No, it's
Vanessa, I think.
I'm gonna change it to Savannah because like my
Please,
birthday's
Savannah, sorry.
yeah, my birthday's January 5th, so like January. All right, so like that's why it's 5.
Because
But
your voice is so lovely, and Savannah matches it perfectly.
thank thank you. My grandmother named me. She said I wasn't gonna take no mess from a TV show she used to watch, but then also too, the native meaning behind it as well. And then also too, she's super religious. It had Anna in it, so it fit all the boxes for her. Can y'all hear me okay? Because I'm driving home.
I can
Yes.
hear you, sis. Like we can hear you.
Okay, cool. But also too, I don't know if about you, but it's the accents for me. I've had a very good ear since I was a kid. Like I remember I a doctor of mine. I knew she was from like Yugoslavia or something, and she was stunned. But like always had a good ear for where people are from, and I got gaslighted about someone who I knew had a Caribbean accent, and I called them out on somebody else who I thought had a Caribbean accent from New York. And again, when if you know, you know. It's they have like this like I can't. It's like a nasally. They always sound like they're out of breath. I can't explain it. I don't know. They they try to sound smart using big words and it just don't fit. I can't really put it all together. You know, because La Farmer, I knew I tried to, and then I'm just gonna name names. Somebody said he was Jamaican. Fucking knew it. Um, and New Negro.
Really? Are you sure? I thought he was I thought he was the same ethnicity.
Nah,
The
man.
same.
Just listen. Why you think they don't go and speak on Tariq's stage, man? They'll talk about him, but they won't go on his stage. They won't go on his stage because Tariq will call it out. You can hear it in their voice. New Negro, they talk about him all the time. Like everybody want to talk about people that's going into spaces and not saying nothing. These cats always talk about Tariq, and it's because they're pocket watching tethers. Just listen to their voice. Listen. Because I know a lot of people from New York. I got family from Brooklyn, Williamsburg. They live near the Jews. I'm trying to tell you. I know the difference in these just listen to their voice. Just listen.
There's a lot of lisp, and if they don't have the lisp, then they have like they're talking too fast. It's like real fast. I used to call them machine gun mouths because those women would get mad, like that one that was on Tariq's stage the other night. She was talking
Yeah,
really fast, and that's one of the features too. It's a combination of things.
they'll hide it by talking real monotone, and they'll talk real slow. But you want to know how you get it out of them? Get them angry. Get them angry. That's when you really hear it, their accent come out. Get them angry. You'll hear the accent, and it's crazy. But yeah.
Yep, that's always going to be an issue with us because so many people are cosplaying, and then it's tough when you welcome someone into your circle and they pretend to be one thing when they're really another, and you want them to be like you so much because people start getting along that you start to ignore some things that you shouldn't ignore, and then
Yeah.
yeah, then your circle gets kind of messed up because these people have hidden agendas. They have this issue with you that you don't know that they have. They're mad because they are immigrants and that you are not, and that they can get deported and they can't get deported. So I think it's something that we're going to always have to look out for and not worry about people getting offended because we're doing our lineage checks. So yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's also too. It's just like I read the message wrong. I thought it said grift or I thought it said grift in the thing, right? Because I think one of the main things is that people don't know they role and everything, right? Tariq's not a singer, right? If he tried to sing us through the revolution, he probably wouldn't really get anywhere, right?
Well, no, Tariq is a very
And so,
good singer. Tariq has
oh,
a few albums
my
out.
bad,
Tariq
my bad.
is
I
a
didn't.
jack
Okay,
of all trades. He's a singer. He used to rap. Oh yeah.
okay, well, that's not a good example. Okay, cooking. I don't know. Maybe he's not a good cook, right? So he's not a cook. I don't know. The revolution will be televised. It's going to be in the newspapers. It's going to be in dance. It's going to be in art. It's going to be in sound. It's going to be in documentaries. We have to tell the story somehow, some way. That's his talent, right? And so I think everybody want him to be their daddy, and they want him to control everything. But it's just like that's not what he want to do. Like why we keep putting that on him? We know what they do when we put quote unquote leaders. When we have leaders, we put targets on their back, right? And he said it time and time again. It's just like come on, learn from history. Anytime we have a quote unquote leader, we put a target on their back. And so it's just really crazy when you have people who keep pushing that narrative. And so that's why I'm just like, we've been through this. Kanye said it in the space last night. We've been through this 2.5 years ago. What's happening is a lot of new people are coming and they don't know what happened. They don't know what happened, right? They don't know who the real grifters were. They saw Tariq getting all that money and they thought they could do the same thing. Little do they know, Tariq not out here scamming people. If that's the case, he would have, like people want to do what he wants. People think that they can do what he can do, but he's been doing this for forever. Shit, he's been doing this since I was in my daddy nutsack. To be quite frank, like we need to just like, stop giving people grace if they're gonna like people telling on themselves over and over in these spaces.
Yeah, the old folks used to say when somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, that's how I saved myself in foster care. It takes you 5 minutes to learn what a motherfucker's about. 5 minutes. All it takes you is 5 minutes. You have to be listening. If you're not listening, that's on you. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, never again, sweetheart. Never again.
That's right. We need to learn to stop being so forgiving as a lineage. Girl, you got me on fire. Woo! You got
No,
me on
because
fire.
me
I'm
and my
ready to
family.
kick somebody ass.
No, because I showed my clip. I clipped to my family. We were just talking about this because at the end of the day, it's cool to support the different people, but when they disrespect the lineage, when they don't recognize where they got it from, then that's where I can't. No, I can't side with you. No, I don't like Kai Cenat. No, I don't rock with him. Sorry, but good for him. It's not me being a hater. He's just not adding to nothing. He's not. I don't. No, sorry.
Yeah, but why
I don't
should
like
we
him.
have to explain why we don't like somebody? Nobody like a lot of people claim to not like us. They don't have to explain. We don't have to accept people, just like they don't have to accept us. Girl, girl, you really got me thinking. I think that's a lot of our issue now is being so forgiving of people and not listening to signs. When people show us that they hate us as a whole, as hate us as a people, when we need to pay attention the first time somebody shows us who they are, show us how they want to treat us and move accordingly. The first time somebody wants to kill one of our kids, the first time we had a Trayvon Martin, we should have moved accordingly. We shouldn't have given anyone another chance. We shouldn't have given another chance for another Zimmerman to pop up. They already showed us what time it was. We shouldn't even have to have any more of these situations. Let me shut up because I may say too much. I get very emotional about stuff like this. I'm gonna shut up for a second.
No, you good. I'm sorry. That was just me. I got a little passionate about it, but it's just like we've been having this conversation already. We talked about it. We were trying to get a good understanding from, this a long time ago, and I thought we were all on the same path. We're not gonna all like each other. Cool. Then let everybody do what they want to do. Now, if you keep talking about somebody got a platform, somebody that's not that people don't choose what to go viral. People don't, people gravitate to what they want to gravitate towards, and I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody don't think that they can have their own mind. They can have their own opinion. Yes, we can all have our own mind. We have our own opinion. If you want to have your different opinion, then have your different space. You don't have to denigrate what anybody else is doing. I thought that was off code, and I think that was the biggest thing that set me off with a lot of people because we continuously talk about a code, but where's the code when we're constantly just bragging about the next person? If you want to get $1 million, then do something, right? Like, I don't know. It's annoying.
Real talk. So again, did FBAs bring gifts to non-FBAs? Yes. So I was talking about tangible items when I wrote this space. Inventions, architecture, right? Music, art, sculpture, But y'all reminded me that another gift that was given to American society by FBAs was swag. Just fucking, you know what I'm saying? The way to act, the way to dress, fashion. We witnessed with our brother Tariq Nasheed's microphone check how we're not even allowed. Not only is the non-FBAs not grateful for the contribution for our gifts, we witnessed that they want to take our gifts. You know, want to claim the gifts of hip hop culture. Which, if you analyze hip hop culture, that's a double insult because a large part, one of the elements of hip hop was created because FBAs were blocked out of those, conservatories, the Juilliards, the schools, the art schools. We weren't allowed to do that. So we, improvised and created other art forms, right? So it's a very interesting situation. Actify Press, what's on your mind?
Hey, family, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I,
Yes, sir.
speaking of giving, I had a maybe some of y'all seen on the timeline. I had like a 5 or 6 hour discussion with well, it turned out to be a tether. I thought it was a white lady, but talking about reciprocity for the things we've already given. All the we it started off with why aren't we supporting Palestine like we usually get behind
What?
every other fight. So I'm like, show me the. So we've done enough. Show me the rest. Show me the Palestinian organization or institution that is standing with us for in our fight for reparations. And then it becomes this whole moral argument, yada yada yada, and it's like it's a simple reciprocity. We have the most valuable earned social and political capital in the modern world, and we're supposed to act like that's not the case and just give it away to everybody for nothing in return. And it's this is just logical. What I'm saying to my mind is just logical. If you want something from me, this is to my mind, this is the essence of solidarity. I help you, you help me, and we will move forward together. And when we reach our goals, we'll separate or we'll move on to the next goal, whatever the case may be. But there seems to be this understanding that we're supposed to continue to mule for everyone else. And people get offended that we don't want to mule anymore, as if we don't deserve reciprocity. We don't deserve people supporting us, even after we've already given so much. Even when we were down, we were helping other people. So I just wanted to share that. I'm it's a pet, and this may be a pet peeve of mine,
No,
but
that's a.
I'm
I
big
I'd
on.
like to see it. I'd like to see what you're talking about. Somebody ran up on you and said that Black Americans weren't supporting Palestine. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Let me see where this thing started.
I just want to see
Mm-hmm.
because I thought they got the message.
Mm-hmm.
400 million Middle Easterners. What are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, some of the
billions
richest
of
countries in the
Islam.
world are in that area. Some of the
Yeah,
richest countries in the world, full of
yeah.
Arabs. Let me see where
Very, very
us.
wealthy, well connected,
Mm-hmm.
moneyed Arabs with emerald
Mm-hmm.
cities from their background and their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Billions of Muslims, billions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not
Yep.
pulling their money.
All
They
right, I'm
have
gonna.
to have trillions of dollars. They could create an island
Mm-hmm.
just for them. They could do anything
Yep.
in the world for Palestinians right now. Anything in the
Yep.
world. They could buy them an island. They could buy them land nearby.
Mm-hmm.
They could form a new country for them. And guess what?
Yeah, doing
They're
nothing.
up in our face telling us what a minority in a country in the belly of the beast should do for them. And I
Mm-hmm.
say, kiss my black ass. I will not be doing any moves at all. I am on energy conservation. Go away, you pest.
mm Yeah, and that's where I am with it. I mean, once somebody says, "What you if you come to me demanding for me to do something," I say, "Okay, well, let's talk. What you gonna do for me? What's in it for me? This is human nature. Everybody does the same shit. What's in it for me? And of course, it's nothing for you. You just do what I tell you. I put one of the first tweets in the jumbotron.
Thanks.
Hmm.
Now, you know what we're not hearing? We're not going to hear an African say, well, if you don't help us with immigration, we're not going to do fill in the blank. Because you ain't never did nothing. You're
And
not going
don't
to hear
plan on
it.
doing anything.
Right.
Hmm.
You're not going to hear an Arab say, hey, well, if you don't help us with umpity ump, we're not going to do fill in the blank. What did you do? You're not going to give us rude service at the gas station? Is that what we're going to not get? Yeah, ain't
Yeah,
never done nothing.
yeah. Then he sent me an article by Angela Davis. Well, I'm not even gonna go into my issues with her. And I'm like, what the fuck this got to do with me? He's
Oh, don't get
yeah,
start. Don't get me
yeah,
started with Angela Davis.
yeah,
Let's not.
yeah,
Let's not.
yeah, yeah. Not today. This Thanksgiving. And and he's like he sent me this list of things that Palestinians have done in solidarity with us. I said I was very specific. Where are the institutions that here? I don't need an ambulance driver from Gaza to put on a reparations T-shirt. You have Arab and Arab Muslim and Palestinian institutions right here in the United States that could speak up with could stand shoulder to shoulder with us and show solidarity.
That's
Of
what they
course,
said
mhm. Yeah, that's what I told
that
him.
they did.
That,
They
no,
wore a t-shirt.
he no, no, I'm because he said that he was talking about the Palestinians don't have any money. They're in war conditions, yada yada yada. I said, no, I don't care. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for I'm asking for institutions that are currently here in the United States that are well funded to stand with us on reciprocity. We're talking a fucking memo. You know what I mean? We're not talking about you putting all your money and energy into supporting us. We're looking for some good faith. We've already done for everybody else. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for our efforts. And now you're here talking crazy to me about what we're not doing when you haven't done anything for us except come here and collect.
And
And that right there summed up this space. That's what we're talking about. Thank you, sir. Go ahead,
I
Monica.
just want to add that these people who classify as white when it's convenient and MENA, Middle East, North Africa, when they feel like it, these people have got their big noses all over our scholarships in these colleges. I want to point that out. Indians,
Facts.
Arabs, Asians, all the people that lined up to make sure we couldn't go to college, all the people that want to sue to keep us out of our own country. Okay? Those people's faces are dominating. Not one or two, it should be none, but they are dominating. I'm seeing a list of like 20 recipients of scholarships with a black man's name on it, and I see nothing but big noses. I see nothing but African names, hump hook noses, and Indians. Why am I seeing that? Why are those faces on there? Where's the black Americans? Where's the black
Yeah,
Americans getting the black American scholarships?
yeah. It seems like everything we've earned, everything our people have fought for, is community property, and I'm done with that.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I'm done with it. It'll to my mind. I'm glad to see DEI gone because if we're not getting shit, nobody's getting shit. That's where I am with it.
It's the same thing with Cynthia Erivo. We have everything to do with Hollywood existing. Okay? Not only did the
Absolutely.
Buffalo Soldiers open up the Western frontier and make it possible for there to be a West Coast, not only that,
Uh, uh, don't forget Oscar Michelle.
who's that?
We showed. Yeah, yeah.
The you must know the Oscars. That was a black dude. He was,
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
yeah, nobody knows
Yep. The
Oh,
black
this.
my God. I
exploitation
forgot.
movies saved Hollywood. Yep.
Uh, don't forget the little light that they used in the first Edison. Remember, Edison and Lewis Latimer worked together to create the light bulb. He created the part that makes the light bulb stay on. Well, they continue to collaborate with the projector. Okay? We were some of the first subjects in movies. And that's why we fought in Hollywood to be portrayed properly. That's what we were doing. They were going to film us anyway, or they were going to put black paint on their face like the dumbasses they are. They were going to do that, or they were going to get a step and fetch it. They're going to import a trained monkey to pretend to be us. That's what they do. Get a dumb Jamaican to come over here, or get a dumb Russian to put black paint on his face and pretend to be us. We fought to be represented properly in Hollywood. All that to have a fucking Nosferatu with a suntan running around pretending to be Black American. No, you're not going to be the face of Black America, Cynthia Revo. Take your Nosferatu ass the fuck up out of here.
I assumed I've been hearing her name a lot lately, and I don't really watch movies like I used to. I'm kind of like a bookworm type dude. Well, I've been hearing her name, and I just assumed she was a different African actress. Like I was like, oh yeah, you know how when you hear a name and you're like, oh yeah, isn't that so and so? I'm gonna tell you who I thought she was. I thought she was that uh really a deep chocolate girl that plays in a lot of movies.
No, she
That's a
wasn't.
little
Lupita
younger.
Nyong'o.
No,
Yeah.
she
That's what I thought it was. And when I looked at her face, Tariq had a space about her the other day. And when I looked at her face, I've never seen her fucking ass before. I was like, who in the fuck is
I'm right.
this?
Red Joker. He was very helpful in showing us how she really looked. He's got some good comparisons, some very nice comparisons of
Yeah,
some
Red Joker's been
of
on
his
it. He's been on
face.
a rampage.
Yeah,
She
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
out of her way to look like an alien, and she wants, like all Nigerians, they have an obsession with putting their face on the video. What is it? They have to be in every beauty contest looking like shit. They have to be on every TV show, hair fucked up, not groomed. Okay? They just started fixing their hair for these beauty contests. Just started after we made fun of all those crooked wigs. Okay? They have to be there. They have to plaster their face. Just think of it. If we have a Miss Universe contest, think of this. All they have to do is just put their big head up and say, "I want to represent Nigeria." Okay, cool. "I want to represent Uganda." Okay, cool. I want to, their heads are all over the place. They're over in white countries with their face plastered all over everybody's awards. But guess what we have to do? We have to have a million contests just to get past the white people before we could represent as a potential person to win Miss Universe. The chances of us winning are so far away. We have to fight everything. And I bet you this, I bet you if we had a Miss Universe and we did have a recent contestant, I bet you it would be a Nigerian claiming to be Black American with her face plastered all over the scene. That's all they do is try to put their face on top of everybody. They wanted to be Queen Elizabeth over in the UK. They want to play all the white characters in the movies. They are obsessed, and it's getting on my nerves. You don't represent me, or the Cowboys,
Well,
or Harriet Tubman, or anybody. Go represent your own people. Oh, guess what? You don't have any.
Dr. John Henry Clark called it. He said that he said a study needs to be done on the effects of people who are oppressed and how they fall in love with the oppressor. Nigeria, if you look at its history, number one, Nigeria is younger than my mother. My mother's older than Nigeria. You know, my mother's not very old. Nigeria is a new country, and it was
Facts.
cut and formed by a white woman, a British white woman. Let's not get into the meaning of what the word Nigeria may mean. Let's say Ria means either river or place thereof. And y'all can deal with the first part, the prefix of that word. So what does that mean? But anyway,
Yeah.
I taught at a historically black college with a young man. He's like 27 with an MBA. Well, he was Nigerian, really nice guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but as time progressed, I found out that he lied about his MBA to get the job, and he wasn't there very long. Now, this is a Nigerian, but he was very honest in to me about Nigerian culture, and he said that there's an obsession with foundational Black Americans. Like they view us as, and I'm talking, there are exceptions to the rule. I know some very nice Nigerians, but according to this gentleman, whose name is not going to be mentioned, he said that foundational Black Americans are viewed as competition. Like there's a need to compete with us, and i.e., there's a very, according to him, as a Nigerian, there's a huge inferiority complex with foundational Black Americans. And in my life and my professional practice, I've realized I've bumped into that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it from a collegiate standpoint. I've watched students just become very aggressive with taking opportunities from foundational Black Americans. Now, I know there are going to be some of y'all to say, no, you can't take opportunities. You can't take a slot for medical school. I'm going to say,
The
fuck yeah,
fuck
you
you
can. I'm
can't.
going to tell
If it's a limited
I'm gonna
resource,
tell you,
no, the fuck you can't.
I'm gonna tell you how it rolls. It rolls like this. You get these opportunities because of the curriculum required to go to medical school or dental school. There's a pre-med curriculum of physics one, physics two, chemistry one, chemistry two, biology two, and
Did you lose? I lost professor. Is it just me?
uh, my dad tried to call me, but can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, those courses, those hard sciences on the college circuit are dominated by foreigners. Anybody here who's went to college, no matter where the fuck you went, I bet you'll say that you had a physics teacher, a chemistry teacher, a math teacher, professor rather, that did not speak English. Well, that plays into medical school selection because these professors are not giving the top grade, are not allowing foundational Black Americans to achieve the top grades. They're gatekeeping the medical school gateway. They're gatekeeping it for their own people in our fucking country at foundational Black American at at historically Black colleges, which were created for us. As far as I'm concerned, historically Black colleges belong to me. They were created to ease the gap, and they're being exploited by foreigners. I'm sick and fucking tired of it.
Yeah, there's got to be a way we can stop this shit from happening. There's got to be a way. I now that I guess we could, in a way, use the end of affirmative action to say, okay, in affirmative action in school admissions now, and say, hey, listen, we need our shit back. Y'all go chase Harvard and whatever. We need our HBCUs back. Everybody get the fuck out the way.
Well, if we were to audit these programs and these scholarships and the things that they're taking, it would look, you would see that the benefits are going to everybody but us. We would probably be only 25% because I just keep seeing screenshots of all the recipients of scholarships. And of course, they have their scholarships closed to us. And so that's just the way it's going right now. But it's not going, with the delineation, it's not going to be able to continue because we're just going to start calling people's backgrounds out and it's just going to be deafening. The more people know, the louder they're going to get. They're going to stop voting for these. The only reason these people are being voted into office where they can do real damage is because the people voting them in have not delineated. They don't know that they're voting against themselves. These people are competitive. And when you think about it, when the Nigerian president, Buhari, said that they were unwanted overseas, their criminal activities, and he just completely trashed Nigerians, right? They are the bottom of the bottom. When you talk about the global caste system, no one is below Nigerians. There's nobody on earth.
No,
Nobody on
Wani,
earth is below Nigerians. They're below East Africans. Go ahead, Activine.
I'm sorry. Is it, are they competitive or predatory? That's the becomes the question, right?
They're both. They're
Yeah,
both.
I don't. I think they know they really can't compete with us, so they're trying to do their best to slant the field. But there's there's also, which is our fault, there is an imbalance in the system because we have fallen into the trap of viewing these people as us, or at the very least as distant cousins that we should be supporting. And I don't know how to shake us of that.
Well, we're doing it. We have a lot of delusional people. Like when we're competing in the Olympics and winning, we have these little people biting at our ankles over some track and field races. They feel like they're on equal par with us somehow. Jamaicans feel like they're on equal footing, like we're neck and neck here. We're fighting the Americans, and they've literally made posts saying they're going to root for German people and everybody to win over us. So that's similar to the way white people do. They want to shoot us in the back while we're fighting in the same war. They want to root for Katarina Witt against Debbie Thompson because Katarina Witt was white and they didn't want a black American woman to win. So she had all the white Americans rooting against her while she's trying to win a gold medal for America. That's the position we're in. And now we have this fucking heckling section, immigrant heckling section, sitting there rooting against us. And that's fine. Go root against us from your poor Wi-Fi, because I don't want you rooting close up. I don't want you rooting against me from the UK. You need to be over somewhere in a hut with no Wi-Fi so I don't have to hear you heckling me. That's why I don't want them to live in the West. I want them to live in Africa with no Wi-Fi signal, because that limits the heckling and the hate. So when you leave, the hate leaves. That's why I don't want them in anybody's country that's civilized. You cannot be near any kind of Wi-Fi because you're irresponsible with it. I mean, I can see how you don't seem to be able to read the room. You're standing in the middle of white countries telling them that you're going to do something. Okay? You're doing a lot. A lot. How long are they going to put up with that before your ass just disappears and goes up in smoke like other people in their countries that they didn't like? Go ahead, to Black.
How
Is
you
any way
doing,
I
woman?
can make a question if it's fine? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
How y'all doing? On the spot, you was funny as hell when I trying to be funny. Um, but I like this conversation. I would just like to pose this question. Um,
That's me.
you know how these tellers, they want to
Yeah,
be black when
blessings.
it suits them,
Maybe
right?
not.
So
Hmm.
I say this: they should be called melanated Africans, melanated Jamaicans, melanated. They don't deserve the term black. I think only FBAs deserve the term. We have the right before bled and died for that description, that title. I think none of them should be able to be called black. Just
I
melanated
don't.
Africans.
I don't call them anything. I call them by their name, Africans and Caribbeans. I don't need to make up anything extra. They don't need to be melanated. They're just going to be Africans and Caribbeans, exactly what they are.
Right, right, right.
Haitians, whatever their name. They have, let's go over this. These people have 3 to 4 names. They can call themselves by their continent name, African. They can call themselves by their tribe name.
Right.
They can call themselves by their country name. Okay. So why do they need another name? I know what they are. They know what they are. And that's what they're going to be called. They're never going to be called black anything, not by me. I'm
Right,
going
and
to
that's what I'm
call them
saying.
African.
It should be a well known thing because now, in general terms, they are descripted as being black. Now we have to change that. I trust me. I agree. I totally agree with you. But far as the consensus wise, they should not be able to be called black. You can't be black when you're ready to. So okay, now you're
That's
not
our
black. You
doing.
just
We were,
melanated. Fuck them
okay.
niggas. And I
No,
land my
they're,
plane right there.
this is our doing though. We were the ones running around telling everybody, you're black when the police see you. They were over here talking about, I'm Haitian, I'm not black.
That's
We're the
true.
ones that ran around, me included, telling Dominicans and any other goofball that I came up against. You're black when the police see you,
That's right.
blasey, blasey, blasey. Okay, well, now they can continue to be Dominican without
That's right.
any obstruction from me. That was done out of love to protect
That's
them
right.
because I looked at them and I said, "You look just like a Black American, and the
Right.
police are not going to take your accent into consideration." But now that's not my job. That is not my job to help people to get information. That's something that people pay for. You want to know the lay of the land? Pay me. You want to know how American works? Pay me. That's something people pay for. That's a service. To get acquainted with a country, we've been going around giving it away for free. People get paid to show
Was that
people how to act in other countries.
is that like low self esteem? Is that like a low self esteem thing from slavery? You think?
Which part?
Why we was number one both parts. Number one, how we were so eager, me included, to say you black just like me. You know what I'm saying? Why do we need to do that? We have to be
It's
critical of
yeah.
ourselves.
I am. I think a lot of it is like you're trying to be something else, and no, you're not going to be this Hispanic person or this, Cuban, I mean, or this Caribbean identity. You're going to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, yeah, it is a form of low self esteem, but it was
Mm-hmm.
also to protect them because they were seeing themselves differently than we knew this was a black white situation. And they were seeing things in grays. They were thinking that something about their identity was going to make them be perceived differently, and it wasn't. It's not. They're getting shot in the face at the kitchen table by a cop. They're getting tore up. They're calling us bullet bags, and they're taking all the bullets. Multiple high profile cases have been Caribbeans and Africans, and they're not going to get any support anymore. That's what they've accomplished with the bullshit that they've been doing. They've accomplished not getting support. And so you better call Nigeria when you get into a trick bag over here. You
Mm-hmm.
better call your country because I'm not going to fall for it anymore. Remember that boy Ralph Yarl who got shot by the white neighbor? Of course I care that a white man shot out the window at a child.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, nobody wants that to happen to anybody. But the moment that we tried to rally around him, his aunt came out of the woodwork with her white husband talking out of both sides of her neck. Okay. And then the mommy came out talking about some BS about all white people are not bad or something. So they couldn't even defend themselves properly because they were too busy licking white tail. And I'm not going to burn up my energy. Hey, if you want to tongue kiss the cop that shot your brother, if you don't care if a white man shot your son, why should I burn up my energy? You get it? I'm on energy conservation. If you don't care about your people, I am not going to care. You have a whole country. Okay? I think he was from Liberia. They have entire countries that could write a letter and make a complaint and go to the UN and say, hey, our Nigerian immigrants are being shot in the face. Hey, our Liberian immigrants are not being treated right. What can you do? They have a place to speak on it, but they don't want to speak on it. They don't want attention. They don't want to say, um, I'm a Cameroonian. I need help from the Cameroon. No, no, they don't want to say that. They want to hide behind Black Americans
Mm-hmm.
and make us absorb everything. So when they get shot in the face, it was a Black American that got shot. When they start a riot up in Crown Heights, it was a Black American who started the riot. Anything negative, anything that requires work, they want us to do it because they're vampires, they're parasites and leeches. And
That's
that's what parasites, leeches, and vampires do. They drain your energy, and then you don't have the energy to fight, and they're not going to fight. They don't have it in them. They're not built like that.
And I say this and I'm gonna get out of here. I really enjoyed this conversation. That's why I tell them kiss my ass. And they don't give a damn about us, right? And right now in Africa, they are selling babies, man. Babies in a bag. Like they selling their own children. And they got them stuffed inside of a excuse my language, in a fucking bag. Like literally got them tied up and got them on display. I don't know which part of Africa, but they doing it like right this second. So if I don't know why some of us think they care about us when they don't. If they could do that to their own people then and now to this day, what makes you think they give a fuck about us? They are not our brothers. I used to be a Pan Africanist. I'm not gonna lie. At one point, I was in that chemist shit. Ptah Asar is still my spiritual comedic name. I keep it 100, but I was into that. But as I experience more and more and started hearing some like minds, and I'm like, yo, I feel that same way too. It changed me. So it's like
Yes.
y'all the ungrateful cousins. Y'all are the ungrateful cousins that's not allowed to the barbecue anymore. Like you can't come to the crib no more. Like fuck y'all niggas. Nikki the God on the spot, Professor Al, everybody that's in the room, salute, love y'all. I don't know y'all, but um, FBAs all day. Much love to the people. Y'all keep pushing, man. Much love, FBA, all motherfucking day. Y'all have a
Hey,
good one.
Ronnie,
Yes.
Yeah.
um, him talking about them selling babies in bags.
Mm-hmm.
There is still slavery in several parts of Africa, right?
Right.
So we know that they have these issues. They know that they have issues like this, yet they still flee over to our country. Why would what type of person leaves their country, leaves a situation like that, and doesn't stay and fight for the children in their country? What type of people come over here and leave from that instead of fixing it?
Facts.
If they really are have babies in bags or really are even if it's not the babies in the bag, even if it's just slavery, why not fight to fix that issue? Why just that's just like leaving your dirty room and then just move into a new house because you don't want to clean your nasty room,
Yeah.
so you just move to a new house. I can't respect a group of people like that, and you shouldn't either. None of us should respect them.
They are leeches. They
Yeah.
are selfless. They selfish people,
Outside
and
of,
it's all about them. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
outside of respect, how can you trust?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're correct.
Now you mentioned Kemet, and I love doing backgrounds and history on ancient places. And oddly enough, when Black American men do their genetics, they'll get a message saying that you're related to King Ramses III and some other mummies that they've tested over there. So we do have connection. We have ancient connections to these places, and that's why it's of interest to us. That's why these places ring a bell, so to speak, because
Mm-hmm.
we do have ancient connections, but the people there, the modern people, they are not, they're not the same people, unfortunately. Just like in Egypt, um, they had Greek invasions, they had an Arab invasion,
Yeah.
and they're not the same people. There are people of African descent, but they're just shoved down to certain places or kind of mixed in, and it's not the same people. And as you see, when those people came in, they don't have the same development. They don't have the same um, vision as the places that they took over because they're just invaders. They don't have the same types of the things that we saw Egypt do were some of the most spectacular things on the planet. And you don't see that coming from that area anymore. You just see them, looking at the pyramids like, wow, what's that? Just like the rest of us.
And this is another reason why I don't really like them. Like they can kiss my ass. And sorry, but even you know our grandmasters, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Cernema, shout out to Tony Browder, Wade Nobles. Ronoko Rashidi, so many names. The list goes on for over 50, 60 plus years. They put Africa on the back, showed the world the 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 true history of Africa. This is this is y'all know I'm speaking to the choir, but put the battery in their back, showed the world how great the empires were. And for these people to literally die broke, die, like it's so crazy. And Africans come here, they didn't even want to participate with the movement. I'm not going to say all of them, but it was a small handful that maybe participate, just very few, but the majority they did not participate, and they slapped our great grandmasters in the face, and we big them up. So the confidence that they have is through us bigging them up through all these years and our grandmasters that passed away. So these are ungrateful ass creatures. These are the ungrateful cousins. We should not have love for them because they only here for an agenda. If they could sell us and we still build them up and have love fight for them to get here and blase blase blah, and on top of that they still smack us in the face. Come on. So we already on point. So we just know what we dealing with. These the ungrateful cousins that we can't invite into the crib no more. So
Right.
um that's
I
all I can.
agree. If anybody can show me a historian or a researcher that has done more work than Black Americans to big up Africa, let me know because I want to hear about it. These people don't even defend their own culture that they claim they have. We're the
Facts.
ones doing it. We're the ones talking about kufis and dashikis.
You would think
We're
that
the
Exactly.
they want to.
ones.
You would think that they would want to put some type of trademark on the owners of inventing bushmeat, but they
Yeah,
don't
I
put no
would think
trademark
so.
on that.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh shucks, yeah, man. It's sad, and we get the end of the stick, man. Yo, I just seen a video before I jumped into your room. An African eating. Hold on, let me go to my bookmarks. Let me show you exactly.
Oh no, because I just
Eating
got done.
what?
Done looking at
Eating
Wadi's
what?
page, and I threw up from looking
Ew.
at her page.
Oh, Lord.
Yo,
Eating
he's
what?
eating like a monkey's foot, son, with the hair on it.
Was that the foot? I don't know. Could have
That's
been his
It's
Thanksgiving.
mother.
mad hairy.
You
See,
know
don't
what?
take the
Yo.
You
fur
know
off.
what? People, it's Thanksgiving. People done
Oh
eat.
yeah, you right.
You
I
know
am
what?
disgusted.
Why don't
Yeah,
they take the fur off? That's my question. Why don't you take the fur off? That is like basic caveman 101.
savage.
Oh,
Para,
Yeah,
great
and
extra
point.
oh,
para,
that's
extra para,
Antonia.
like
You get
extra
some
extra
clippers.
protein. Extra
Yeah,
extra.
but
Yeah,
that's a good point he just made. That tells you something about them, how primitive they are. That they don't even bother to take the every culture I've seen. Like when they cook food, they get the whiskers off chicken, the hair off of bears, or whatever they eat. I've never seen. Who said that was that they were being intellectually lazy? Someone said that.
I mean, the kids
That
I
is
went to school with
lazy.
told me I was uncultured because I ain't eat with my hands. My parents told me I was a savage if I ate with my
What?
hands. They said I was uncultured because I didn't eat with my hands. Like my
Yes,
Indian,
that's
What school
crazy.
did you go
I
to?
went to OSU. I'm trying to tell you, it's to dominated by
Oh my
immigrants.
God.
I cried in some of my classes when I didn't see any other black people. I cried.
And then yet you have a lot of people, a lot of oppie people hanging around Twitter who defend what our HBCUs have turned into culturally. Because a lot of the white people who you see doing the marching bands and the stepping, they got that stuff from immigrants who were at HBCUs. I've never seen foundational Black Americans sharing that type of information. I could be wrong, but for the most part, I've seen it immigrants who learned it from from FBAs who share it because they want to be accepted by the white people so bad that they let them know, oh hey, it's since I'm black, we're all black. It's our culture, so it's your culture. And so next thing you see them doing some type of step and march dance, and then when you see them do it on a timeline and you say something, they get offended and they were like, well, Umbuku said I can said it's okay and that we can do all of this because we went to school with her or whatever. So they share they are so they tether so much that they share culture that doesn't even belong to them. They give approval to share our culture.
They have no
Yes,
respect for
very true.
themselves. They don't even respect their names. Like I heard that Shabuzi is because they can't pronounce his name correct. This girl I worked with,
Mm-hmm.
her name is Chinyonye. They call her Chi because they don't know how to pronounce her name. And I just laughed. I'm like, y'all have
Chingongyang.
yeah, that's it.
Chingongyang.
Exactly.
I need an extra tongue to say it.
Chinyonye.
Yeah, yeah, and they're okay with white people mispronouncing their names. Matter of fact, they'll go out of their way to just change their name to John to please white people. But we have to know how to pronounce their long German last names with Z's and next to G's, and you have to figure out what the hell that means. I wanted to see if we can go through the hands. Some people don't have their hands up. I'm seeing some people on stage, and I wanted to
Okay.
give everybody a chance to speak. Who was some new people that have not spoken before? Is that okay with y'all? Who is
Yes.
this all viral access person?
That was me talking the whole time.
Oh, that was see. I can't see. I'm on my laptop, so excuse me. Laptop. I can't
Now you
see.
good, sweetie.
So what about Blessed Lioness? Can we hear Blessed Lioness? I think Blessed
She
Lioness. Her.
sounded muffled.
Yeah, I want to hear her. I love hearing her
I'm
speak. So
sorry if I
go
was
I'm
ahead.
gonna go
muffled,
down, family.
but
Y'all be good.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying
Okay,
to
thanks.
I'm trying to give y'all a perspective, right? To where my dad, he's from Africa, right? He comes over here and he studies. Are they telling me y'all have a connection issue? Okay, so they better cut us off. Okay, my dad got his PhDs and everything else and all over the world. What? So he went back to Africa, right? Left me. I don't know him.